What's up guys, Infernape here. Now I feel like some of the Pokemon games lately have been going a little bit downhill compared to what some of the Pokemon games used to be. Let's be honest, stuff like Pokemon Platinum and Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver just cannot compete with Pokemon ELA or Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Because quite honestly, Platinum and Heart Gold Soul Silver are far superior than those two Switch games. So I decided to take it upon myself to give you guys some suggestions on what I think could make a better Pokemon game, if I'm honest. This is just all coming from the Chrome, so I definitely feel like this could be quite an interesting Pokemon game, if I'm honest. It's just a shame that I highly doubt that Nintendo will take any of my ideas. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, if you agree with the points I made, if you have your own points, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get into the video! Now this is going to be quite an interesting point, but I personally think that we should go back to the 2D version of the world. Honestly, I did not like open world. It just felt so tacky. I just don't really like open world games at all. So I personally think if we go back to the 2D world, it would just make Pokemon a lot more cleaner. Plus, that's what Pokemon is. You can't exactly make Pokemon Skyrim, and you can't make it Elden Ring. Pokemon is Pokemon. It's not Skyrim, it's not Elden Ring, it's Pokemon. I would also make the character design and the character format similar to the character design and format with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or Sword and Shield, because honestly those were some brilliant characters, I cannot lie. I would bring back the clothing options that were as good as Sword and Shield, the character diversity, customization options for Scarlet and Violet, and I would also bring back the switch and set style into battle, because they took away switch and set, and I feel like if we bring it back, people can't really complain, because then they can decide whether they want to do switch or whether they want to do set. I would also bring back random encounter battles before what they did with Scarlet and Violet. If you walk in front of the trainer, you have to battle them. And you don't get any ifs, says, or buts about it. It's just how Pokemon is, and it also complies with a basic rule in Pokemon. If a trainer's eyes meet, you battle. That has always been Pokemon's thing. So, I'm bringing it back. I'd also bring back the experience share, but it would be an in-game item that you get. Similar to how they did it in X and Y, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And you also have the option to turn it off. I mean, yes, you can and keep it on and have your entire party gain experience, but you also have the option to turn it off. So that way it makes things a bit more difficult to more experienced players. Wonder Training will make a return. I would also add mini games into the Pokemon games, similar to the Pokemon contest back in the Gen 3 and Gen 4 games, because I feel like having some mini games would be quite interesting, because we haven't had that in a while. I would also make it so that the wild encounters that you get are both overworld and randomized. So you can have the option of either using overworld encounters and random encounters. So that way, Nuzlocke can make a return, even though I personally don't do Nuzlocke, but I know some people who do. So I feel like bringing back wild encounters, well, bringing back random encounters anyway, would make the game so much better. Because let's be honest, overworld encounters suck. I would also make the Pokédex have 400 Pokemon entries as usual, but I'm going to make it so that the ratio of new Pokemon and old Pokemon favors more toward the new Pokemon, because the ratio of the Pokédex usually favors the older Pokemon a bit more than the new Pokemon. So I'd make it either 50-50, or maybe make it a bit more lenient towards new Pokemon than returning ones. The story format will remain how they used to be in the older Pokemon games. You have to go on a journey to complete the Pokédex to the best of your abilities, and battle 8 gym leaders to enter the Pokemon League, while also trying to defeat the evil team, all entangled into one story. Plus, I would also make it so that there are minuscule battles in between the gym battles, So that way it gives people more of a chance to level up their Pokemon to the correct level cap. So that way you don't seem underleveled or overleveled. You would seem correctly leveled. The Pokemon League challenge will be the same as it used to be. You challenge 8 gym leaders in a specific order, which then you take on the Pokemon League. Then at the Pokemon League, you face the Elite Four in succession. You battle all one, to then move on to the other, to then move on to the other, to move on to the other. And each time you battle a member of the Elite Four, their level caps increase, so that way it gives the challenger a bit more of a run of their money, if I'm being honest. Because doing it in any order you want when the level cap is the same doesn't challenge the player at all. Also, I would do one of these two things. One, bring back Mega Evolution and add brand new Mega Evolutions into the game. Or I wouldn't add a gimmick at all. Because let's be honest, we don't need a new gimmick just to make the Pokemon game good. A Pokemon game can be just as good without a gimmick. Like, for example, the Gen 4 games. Like, Generation 1 to 5, they were pretty good games. And honestly, they didn't need a gimmick just to be good. They were brilliant just by themselves. Honestly, like, either bring back Mega Evolution or don't add a new gimmick. Yes, it may upset players, but honestly, I don't really think we need a new gimmick every single time a new Pokemon game drops. I would give the main character 2 rivals. The 2 rivals will all have the opportunity to pick a starter Pokemon like you at the start of the game. There's a friendly rival that heals your Pokemon when you see them, isn't as into battles, but values friendship. Then there's a complete douchebag rival that doesn't like you or anyone else because they grew up without any parents, and so they were taken in by their other relatives, but due to a busy work schedule, they rarely ever looked after them. Because of this, he never really learnt compassion or friendship, and so they saw Pokemon as a way to gain power and respect. The friendly rival will take the starter whose type matchup puts you at advantage, but the rude rival will take the starter Pokemon whose type matchup is better than yours. Now I'm going to be going over the story of my game. Now I didn't go as in-depth as some other videos I've done, but I feel like this is still quite a decent story if I'm being honest. So let me give you a brief summary of how my story would go. I'm sorry guys, I need to hold my phone in order to read this because my eyesight is awful and I need to hold it like this in order to get it right. Otherwise, I'm just going to be sitting here forevermore. So let's get into it. The evil team is the most feared group in this region. They claim what they do is for the greater good for humanity, but the way they go about it is very questionable. The leader is the owner of an institute that researches the climate change and global warming to find a way to make the planet more inhabitable for everyone in present day and for the future. The evil team does 2 different things depending on the version you play. They'll either use the power of the legendary Pokemon to send 90% of all humans into another dimension, or they'll use the power of the legendary Pokemon to wipe out 90% of all humans. Anyone who joins their group, or someone that the group deems as valuable to the new world, will either join them, or be locked away against their will until it's safe. The leader believes that the reason that the planet is starting to become uninhabitable is because humans keep making mistakes. So in order to save the lives of people, Pokemon, and the planet, they try to get rid of 90% of all human life. Now we've got the basic summary of the story out of the way, let's go over the level caps. So I'm going to be going over the gym leaders, the Elite Four, and the champion level caps. The level caps may seem a little extreme, but I personally think that they're fine. So, time to go over the level caps. I'm also going to be adding the type specialty that these leaders have. So, I'm also keep in mind that these gym leaders are going to have a specific number of Pokemon. So, gyms 1 to 2, they're going to be having 2 Pokemon. Gyms 3 to 6 will have 3, and then 7 and 8 will have 4. So, time to go over their teams. Gym 1 will be using 2 Pokemon, of course, and will also be a Rock-type specialist. and their level cap is 16. Gym 2 will be using Ghost-type Pokemon, and the level cap will be 22. Gym 3 will be using Grass-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 26. Gym 4 will be using Normal-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 33. Gym 5 will be using Fighting-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 37. Gym 6 will be using Water-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 42. Gym 7 will be using Fairy-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 46. And Gym 8 will be using Dragon-type Pokemon, and the level cap is level 50. Yes, I know, the level caps seem a little extreme, but keep in mind, like I said earlier, we'll be adding some Evil Team and Rival battles in between the gym battles, so that way you have a chance to catch your Pokemon up to the correct level cap. Also, when you get to the 8th gym and onwards, I've started adding specific held items in order to make the battles a little bit harder. Gyms 1 to 7, all they'll be using is a Citrus Berry on their ace. So, let's go over the Elite Four and the Champion. Alright, at the Pokemon League, the Elite Four will be using 5 Pokemon, and the Champion is only going to be using 6. So, for the breakdown, the first Elite Four member will be using Steel-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 54. The second one will be using Fire-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 56. Number 3 will be using Electric-type Pokemon, and the level cap is 58. And the fourth one will be using Dark-type Pokemon, and the level cap will be 60. As for the Champion, he'll be using a full team like I said, and his level cap will be 62. Seems like a decent level if you ask me. And now I'm going to be going over the basic rundown, what I think a post-game would be like. I think post-games are definitely very important, so let's see what I can do with a post-game. For the post-game, I would make it so that you would be able to access a restricted part of the region. And also, within this restricted part of the region, I would also bring back the Battle Frontier, because I feel like bringing back the Battle Frontier would be quite interesting, because I want to see what it would be like to bring back the Battle Frontier, because the Battle Frontier, I believe, is a major staple of a Pokemon game. And we haven't had the Battlefront, a proper Battlefront here, since Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And I want to bring it back. So, there will be a nice homage to some of the older Pokemon fans, so that way it brings them back. Plus, I feel like it would be a good way to show the newer fans what it was like in the older games. I would also make it so that you can find brand new Pokemon that you couldn't normally find in the normal playthrough of the game. And also, the trainers and the wild Pokemon you encounter are a lot tougher than one might expect. You'll also be able to battle the gym leaders again, but you have to go to their gym in order to rematch them, and when you do, they are a lot tougher. And like I said, I would also bring back the Battle Frontier, but I would make brand new facilities and brand new Frontier Brains. Haven't actually decided what to give them, but I would definitely make it so they have new facilities and new Frontier Brains. Now for the main story of the post-game. Basically, you find out that the leader of the evil team has broken out of prison. And you also find out that he's raising his armies again. And he's somewhere in the concealed part of the region. So it's your job in order to track him down, defeat him, and put him back behind bars, thanks to the assistance of Detective Looker. How I have the concealed region is that there are 4 separate areas, like towns, cities, whatever you want to call them. You go to 3 out of 4 of them, but there's still no sign of the evil team leader. But while you're in the 3rd part of the area, you do meet their father. And he actually gives you a little bit of backstory on this guy. Plus, he also mentions that this person also has an older sibling. And he used to be quite protective of his younger sibling, who was the evil team leader. So much so that at one time when the evil team leader was a child, their older sibling protected them from a wild Pokemon attack, and in the process got a giant scar down the side of one of his eyes. Why is that important? You'll find out in a bit. The father hasn't heard from his children in a while. Basically, the older sibling went out to travel around the world to become an extremely powerful Pokemon trainer, while the other decided to focus on researching how to make the planet more sustainable. And then he also found out in the news that he got arrested, but he doesn't know whether or not that he's broken out of prison or if he's even around. He has no idea how to help them. So, you had no choice but to go to the 4th area to find out if you can find the evil team leader. When you get to the last part of the concealed region, you search all over the place, just no success, until you come across a cave. In that cave, there's nothing except a small bit of braille text right near the entrance. And when you interact with the braille text, it will read in braille, if you tunnel at the center, you will find your answer. Which basically means use dig in the center of the room, and then you'll be able to go further down. When you do use dig at the center, in front of you will actually be a rope bridge. So you go down, and then you come across the evil team's brand new secret base. And basically from there, you battle all the grunts to go lower and lower and lower down, and just keep battling grunts while you're at it. And then, when you get to the lowest level possible, you find someone standing backwards. And from the back, it looks like it's the evil team leader. But, when he turns around, you see a giant scar down his eye. That's right, it's the older sibling. You may ask yourself why the older sibling wasn't actually a part of the evil team when the younger sibling was trying to do his evil plot. But keep in mind that this guy has been traveling all around the world in order to become a powerful Pokemon trainer. So the younger sibling doesn't know which part of the world that his older sibling is in. And he had no contact with him. So he decided to just, take the risk. Anyway, the older sibling learns that the evil team leader was thrown into prison, and he knows for what reason. But all he wants is to break him out of prison. So that's why he decided to build up his army again, so that way he can bust him out of prison. He is worried that if he busts out his younger sibling out of prison, that he'll be going around doing the same thing again, or possibly something worse, but he doesn't care. He's family, and he doesn't want to see his younger sibling in prison. All he wants is to bust him out, and anyone that gets in his way will be terminated. Then you have a giant battle against him, 6-on-6, and he does not make it easy for you. He's going to be busting out some OP Pokemon from all over the world that you have never seen before. And also some Pokemon that you have seen before, but aren't from this region that I'm talking about. You finally beat him, and when you do beat him, Detective Looker comes in with some of the international police and claims that he has arrested all of the other grunts in this secret hideout, and all that's left is to arrest the older sibling that you just battled. And now guys, hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, if you would play this game, if you would change anything about the game, how you would make your Pokemon game, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Did you enjoy the video as much as I did making it? If you did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. It's been Inferno today. Okay, that's all for me, so until the next time, this is Inferno, signing off. Bye!